Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for clicking on today's video. I think this is gonna be a really fun one because we are back to set another TBR. I'm really excited to enter into June because I feel like life is finally getting back to a normal pace. The start of this year has been all over the show and I've been functioning on very little mental capacity. So now that we're finally settling in and getting back to a slower pace, I feel like I can really have fun and recommit to reading. So with that being the case, we're going to set an 8-book TBR using the TBR board game. You guys love the TBR board game. So for anyone new, if you want a rundown of all that's on the board, I'm gonna go ahead and link April's TBR because I did a quick run through of everything that's on here. But we have a lot of fun setting these TBRs, even though I've probably done this 5 or 6 times. Every time we do it, it ends up completely different. We always get a really good selection to choose from. And my mood for this month ahead is actually really open. I've leaned heavily into romance at the start of this year, but now I feel like I'm slowly getting back into fantasy. You'll definitely see that whenever we choose our books. I'm about to wrap up a series that has been haunting me throughout the start of this year. And with that out of the way, I'm really excited to pick up a lot of new series and try something new. Before we hop in, play the game, pick our books, make sure you go down below and subscribe so that you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. And let's hop in. It's always a little bit of a battle figuring out how to best show you guys the board, but hopefully you can see everything pretty well. Currently we are at go and we're gonna use 1 dice to get around the board. For our first roll, we have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Starting the month off strong with a romance. Okay guys, time for the best part, being at the bookshelves and choosing our reads. Now something I've noticed about myself while doing these TBR videos is I have a real bad problem remembering books that are not in front of me. So that includes Kindle Unlimited, books from my library, new releases. Whenever I'm filming these videos, those things actually just completely vanish from my mind. So I have my phone here. I'm gonna try and do a better job about incorporating some of those other things within our picks because I'm not someone that like has to have every book on my TBR physically. Since we have an 8-book TBR, I think I'm gonna shoot for like 4 books that I read physically. And the rest, let's branch out. Let's pick some other things out there. Just so we can get these on our radar. Through my library right now, I do have a romance called Summer Fridays that I could easily read as an ebook. I have Emily Henry's Great Big Beautiful Life coming in soon. I will have the audiobook coming in for A Torch Against the Night by the end of this month, and that is a fantasy series that I can continue. And the rest on Libby, I don't really think I would be able to get these in time. Annabelle Monaghan just had a new release, but I'm still quite a few weeks out on that. Ashley Poston has a new release coming out this month called Sounds Like Love, and I don't think I'll be able to get that this month either. I think that might be a next month selection. And if we're browsing through Kindle Unlimited, I have so many books saved right now. There's so many books I want to get to, so we'll see what happens. I think we have some good reads ahead for us this month. And kicking it off really short and sweet, we have simply a romance. I do have my TBR separated by genre, so these are all my romance picks, and then these are all my fantasy reads. The past 2 months, I've actually read so much from this romance TBR, so I feel like she's actually kind of dwindling down. But if I had to narrow down and choose my absolute top romance pick, if you guys have been following along, you know I have not been shutting up about You With a View by Jessica Joyce. Jessica Joyce might be my new Emily Henry. I'm gonna put it to the test with this book. I read The X-Files by her earlier this year, and I think it's my top book of 2025 so far. Absolutely loved it. 6-star read. Fantastic. Please pick it up. For a very quick synopsis, and I apologize to those who have already heard me talk about this 1,500 times, but 2 former high school enemies must reunite for a road trip inspired by their grandparents' broken engagement in this electric debut romance. So we have a little rivals to lovers. I don't know if this will qualify for second chance since they have known each other beforehand, but regardless, I'm just super stoked for this one. The cover's so giving summer, so I think this is the perfect time to pick it up. It's just under 350 pages, so I think this is easily something that I could get through within a few days. Now it's time for our second roll. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, keeping it pretty simple so far. We have a fantasy. I'm really happy with roll 2 because I know exactly what I'm going to be choosing for this fantasy pick. Again, if you've been following along, you know the fantasy series that I'm trying to get through. That would be Throne of Glass. I'm finally on the last book. Thank you, Lord. I do have a 980 page adventure ahead with this one, but I have done my prep work. Not only do I have this physically, I'm also getting it as an ebook through my library. And then I also do have the audiobook through Audible. So I will be committing to getting through this as swiftly and efficiently as possible. I'm ready for my heart to be wrecked. I am also very ready for this series to be over. An 8-book series, it's a lot to commit to. This has been the series that has been haunting me, and I'm happy to bring it to a close in June. Time for roll 3, and I'm hoping we can get one of our prompts because I feel like that's when things get really fun. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, a little bit of a prompt, but still this is keeping it very easy for me to choose. We landed on Kindle Unlimited. It's like the TBR gods heard me and saying that I have a lot of good things on Kindle right now. This is actually going to be hard to narrow it down to my top pick. Where we're at right now, we have 1 romance, 1 fantasy. What do I want to choose? If I'm thinking of June, this is kind of peak summer vibes to me. With what I have on Kindle Unlimited, I do have Caught Up by Liz Tomforde, which is the 3rd book in the Windy City series. This series follows different athletes in Chicago, and this one is specifically an MLB romance. I believe our MMC is a single dad, and he builds a relationship with his nanny. Could be fun because this series is really fast-paced, spicy, just a fun, good time. And then the other selection that I have would be 28 Summers by Ellen Hildebrandt. I do have this as a physical. I thrifted this book and it's been kind of sitting on my shelf for coming up on a year now. I really liked Ellen Hildebrandt's The Hotel Nantucket book. I gave that like a 4.5 stars. Honestly feel like I could reread that every summer. It's so fun. I really do like her writing style. It's very unique. And so whenever I was thrifting, I saw 28 Summers and I was like, oh, let me pick this up. Love an Ellen Hildebrandt. But once I read the back, I realized that this might have been a mistake. I think we're gonna end up getting like a dual timeline where we follow a mom's story and then we also end up following her son's story like 25 years later. But I'm pretty sure the mom's story involves like a 25-year-long affair. And as someone recently married, I don't know what that's gonna do to my psyche. And I don't know how we're gonna spin this so that the mom and whoever her lover is at all likable. I really don't know if I'm gonna end up liking this one. If anyone has read this book, let me know what you think. Is the affair plotline too much? Do you understand it? Because I'm just a little bit confused on how we would root for our characters at all. So with that out of the way, I think that narrows us down to Caught Up by Liz Tomforde. This book is also on my 25 to read in 2025, so it would be great to check off a book from that list because I have somewhat abandoned that list the past few months. Time for roll 4. 3. 1, 2, 3. That brings us back to go, so we're gonna do another roll. 2. 1, 2. Okay, finally, this is a prompt that I was looking for. We have a TBR jar selection. So whenever we go upstairs, that's when we'll have our TBR jar choose the prompt. Okay, I did just have to run downstairs and make our prompts for the TBR jar because I was not prepared. But let's go ahead and choose book 4. And I probably have about like 25 to 30 prompts in here. This is always the scary part. Okay, I have multiple in my hand. We're gonna do this one. This is random number generator. Easy enough. I'm just gonna count all the books that I have on my physical TBR and we'll just have a random number generator. Choose which one we're reading. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21, but I will be honest, there's 2 books that are parts of series that I would not be able to get to right away. So if those are selected, we're just gonna have it generate another number. I have 1 through 21 input, so let's hit generate. 17. That's gonna take us to fantasy. I'm a little scared. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Whoa, we got so close to picking a book that I would not be able to read, but we got lucky with this one. We got Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I subjected myself to the Caraval series. wasn't my favorite. It was super YA, really didn't do anything for me. I subjected myself to it so that I could go into Once Upon a Broken Heart with all of the backstory, because from what I'm understanding, this series really focuses on Jax. And generally, I've just heard that this is the more well-liked series. So I am pretty hopeful going into this one. Caraval reads so easily, so I imagine the writing is going to be similar in that way. This is just over 400 pages, but the text is massive. So I don't think this will be too bad to get through. And it looks like we'll be adding a little YA fantasy to our TBR this month. Halfway through our picks, and we're on to roll 5. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, super fun. We have a letter generator. So that's going to point us to either the title of a book or an author's first or last name. Pick 5. And how random is it that we just did a random number generator and now we're doing a random letter generator? Oh well, I don't make the rules. I am just going to pull up a random letter generator on my phone. This one just has a spinny wheel with all the different letters. Let's go ahead and hit spin. Love all the ads that are going on the screen right now. That's really great. Oh, that would have been funny. We could have used Once Upon a Broken Heart for this prompt. But let's see. I don't really have anything in mind that would fit this. We either want the title to start with O or the author's first or last name to start with O. If we don't have anything on my shelves, I'll see if I have anything like saved on Goodreads, Kindle, XYZ that we could use instead. Okay, so far none of these have O. Oh, we almost didn't make it, but at the very end, we have The Atlas 6 by Olivie Blake. This isn't exactly what I had on my bingo card, but I guess we can make it work. I think this is gonna be a pretty fantasy heavy month. I don't know, I'm gonna need to take it easy on our next few selections. I bought this book without realizing the controversy that exists within the series. Overall, The Atlas 6 is rated pretty highly on Goodreads. It is the first book within a trilogy. I think it's like dark academia fantasy vibes. However, I have never seen a book rated so low than what is the third book in this series. I guess like everyone hated it. I really don't even know why. I so far have only read one book by Olivie Blake, and it was called One for My Enemy, and I really didn't enjoy that. I gave it a 5 stars. So I was like, oh, branch out, let's do another Olivie Blake. And I might have entered into some controversy with this one. I do think this book will end up being good. Maybe famous last words. It looks like it's 370 pages, but I'm very curious on what happens next and if this is a series that I would be continuing. And time for roll 6. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, back to romance. Due to where our TBR is heading right now, I'm gonna take it really easy with this romance pick. I'm gonna throw myself a little softball, which I know I'll easily be able to get to. Let's go ahead and read Summer Fridays by Suzanne Rindell. I have this as an audiobook through Audible, but I also do have it as an ebook through my library. I love being able to like tandem read these through both methods. It means that I get through the book so quick. I honestly don't know almost anything about this book other than I think it takes place in New York in the summer. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna go in with a very open mind. I think I've only heard like one person talk about this before, and I really don't remember any specifics. I just managed to get this audiobook on a deal, and that's how it's come into my life. So we're gonna add Summer Fridays, and I will update you guys at the end of the month what I thought. Time flies whenever you're having fun. We're all the way to roll 7. 1. The dreaded prompt that I've unfortunately landed on quite a few times. Book you've been avoiding. And see, this is why we take things easy on ourselves when choosing our books, because then you get hit with a book you've been avoiding. Honestly, it's so rude of the TBR to do this to me. With Throne of Glass and Kingdom of Ash getting out of my way, really there's not too much I've been avoiding. However, if I had to think of something that fits this prompt that isn't going to absolutely ruin me mentally, I'm gonna choose Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This is definitely a controversial pick. I've just been very 50-50 on Abby Jimenez. I don't know if she is like my god tier author. I do think this book is perfect to pick up this time of year. I mean, this cover is stunning. This is book 3 in an interconnected standalone series that starts with Part of Your World, which I did enjoy, Yours Truly, which I did not enjoy, and now this is book 3, which came out last year. It's a little chunkier than I'd like her to be. She's just over 400 pages for a little contemporary romance. I'm sure a ton of you guys know the synopsis of this book, but for anyone who hasn't heard about it, both of our main characters in here feel like they're cursed by love. Everyone they date, after they break up with them, they go on to find their soulmate. They end up discovering they both share this curse on a Reddit thread, and they decide that if they date for the summer, that'll break their curse, and once they're done dating, they'll be able to go out and find their soulmates. A pretty silly plot, but I do think this has some very emotional threads weaved within. We'll see how it goes. This is kind of my make it or break it for Abby Jimenez, and it's definitely a book I've been avoiding because I think I've held on to this copy for coming up on a year now. Okay, let's end on a high note. Time for roll 8. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The TBR god said we wanted another roll. And 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, another Kindle Unlimited. That's actually a very generous pick. Last book pick, and luckily this is going to be an easy one with Kindle Unlimited. I'm trying to decide. I feel like at this point I have 4 romances, 3 fantasy. I'd say like my most exciting reads that I have saved on Kindle Unlimited right now are fantasies, but I don't think I want to get involved in like super complex storylines right now. Okay, maybe what I can do is a little bit of an in-between. Maybe we do a silly romantasy. I've heard a lot of good things about this book. I know a lot of people love it, and randomly my mom really loves this series too. I think I'm gonna add Assistant to the Villain by, I think the author's name is Nicole Maehrer. I can't really see it, but that name is ringing a bell. I've heard this book overall is just a little bit absurd. I think our FMC is wandering in the woods one day and stumbles upon the town's villain, and somehow she starts working for him, like in his office or HR department or something. Without reading the synopsis of this book, I'm pretty sure that's the plot line. I've heard that it's just like silly, goofy. You have to go in not expecting any ounce of realism going on. I also think these books are fairly short for them being fantasy. There's not difficult world building going on within it. And I think will be a nice addition to kind of even us out on the fantasy versus romance for this month ahead. And that is the end of our June TBR. I really hope you guys had fun. I'm really excited for this month ahead. I think we have a lot of good reads. Finishing some series, starting new ones, a good mix of genres. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun. For a little TBR rapid fire, the first book that we're gonna be reading in June is You with a View by Jessica Joyce. From there, we are closing out a huge fantasy series and reading Kingdom of Ash, the final book in the Throne of Glass series. Next, I don't have this as a physical, but I will be picking up Caught Up by Liz Tomforde, a contemporary sports romance and book 3 in the Windy City series. From there, our TBR jar chose Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. This is continuing a world that she established within the Caraval series, but this is book 1 within the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. A little bit of an unexpected pick with this one, but we're starting a new fantasy series, and that will be The Atlas 6 by Olivie Blake. From there, as an audiobook, I will be listening to Summer Fridays by Suzanne Rindell. For a book I've been avoiding, I'm going to finally get to Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. And finally, with our Kindle Unlimited pick, I will be choosing Assistant to the Villain by Nicole Maehrer. And this is where I will love you and leave you. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe before you leave so that you don't miss any of our upcoming videos, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye guys.